This video is sponsored by Squarespace, and I'll be sharing more about how Squarespace has been a key part of my blogging journey later on in this video. Enjoy! Hello and welcome back to the Bliss Bean. I have something to show you. Wow, look at that reflection. Thank you so much for helping me get this. I'm actually very excited to film this video because it's been a while since I've just spoken to the camera without planning out a super detailed script. Okay, I did write out some bullet points, but I can't help doing some planning. It's just in my blood. So let's get the basics out of the way first. I am 19 years old. I am 5 foot and about 1.5 inches. Aw, you're right, it is like Rapunzel. I wanted to get a perm, but they said my hair was too damaged, but I still wanted to do something that felt like a big change, and I bleached my hair last March, and so I've had light hair, or like half light hair, for a long time now. So I got this color, and it's honestly not that far off from my natural hair color, but it feels like a really big change, and that was what I wanted. I also got a haircut because the ends were just dead. They were a disaster, and I also really like that the dark color makes my hair seem thicker because it is extremely thin. Honestly, I might even go a bit darker. This is like a baby step, and it's also a demi-permanent hair color, or whatever it's called, and so it'll start to fade out. But yeah, I love it so far. My Myers-Briggs type is ISFJ, which is the Defender, which I share with Beyonce, Pam from The Office, and Selena Gomez. I've consistently gotten that result over the years, but I don't really feel like I relate to it. I definitely prefer the Enneagram, and I think I'm an Enneagram 3. Oh, this one's interesting. I thought my entire life that I was a Sagittarius because I'm right on the border between Capricorn and Sagittarius, and normally they say that Capricorn starts on December 22nd, and my birthday is on the 21st. Little did I know, however, I downloaded the CoStar app. I don't really believe in astrology, but I thought it would be interesting. I wanted to see what the hype was about. You had to put in your exact birth time, and I was born at about 6 p.m. in Lithuania, and so I guess that was enough to put me into Capricorn territory. Favorite BTS song ever? Probably Save Me. Currently, Your Eyes Tell. Bias, Jungkook. Bias record, Jimin. This is so funny to me because I have this box of like family photos that haven't been scanned, and then I also keep all my BTS photo cards in here. How did I get into K-pop? It was New Year's Eve 2018, and BTS performed on the Dick Clark New Year special, and I was like, wow, this is pretty good, and I never went back. Hidden talents? Nope. What you see, that's it. Oh my gosh, 10 years? I don't really know where I'm gonna be in 1 year. I'm just trying to go with the flow at the moment. Ooh, what is something people get wrong about you? Well, I think a lot of people assume that I'm just always productive and always motivated, and obviously that's not true. That is not true for anyone. I think I'm more chill than people think I am. I think in school, people who didn't really know me well, or they just knew of me, assumed that I was like super serious and super studious, but that was not really me. I played violin for 5 years. I wasn't super serious about it. I really enjoyed it, but I did not enjoy learning music theory. I did not want to take private lessons or anything like that, so that's why I quit in high school. I've been thinking about learning how to play the piano, but I just don't know how to do that in an affordable way because first of all, I probably have to get a piano, so we'll see. Aš namie kalbu lietuviškai ir mėgstamiausias žodis gal būtų šitas, kuris reiškia this, nes skamba kaip shit. Ir pavyzdžiui, kartais būnam parduotuvėje ir sakai, ar šitą pirkti, and it just sounds like you're swearing a whole bunch. Go somewhere far, far away. I don't know, man, I think the flat earthers are onto something. I like my eyes a lot. There aren't that many movies that I can watch over and over. I'm generally a watch it once and be done kind of person, but I do really like the Hangover movies. Only the first one and the second one though. The third one is trash. Hi, girly or bra? I'm gonna go with bra, but I would say outside of those two options, probably like dude. I think I say dude a lot, or at least in texting. I don't know how anyone could pick a favorite Vine or TikTok, so here's one that I really like.
Anything for you, Beyonce?
That's a classic. I would love to try like a periwinkle blue or a bluish green. For the moment, I'm really feeling the darker hair, so I'm gonna stick with this, and I also need to take better care of my hair if I want to dye it any fun colors in the future. I don't see myself dating until college because, first of all, during COVID, how am I going to organically meet new people? And I'll only be here for another year, so if I fell in love, that would kind of suck if I had to leave so soon. What is your perspective / mindset on life? That is a very interesting question, and honestly something I've been thinking about. I think my mindset has been shifting a lot from like achievement and more towards connecting with people and fun and living a good life, as cheesy as that sounds. I feel like in high school it was really difficult to see beyond like the test scores and the grades and the extracurriculars, and now that I've been out of high school for a little more than a year now, I think my idea of what I want out of life is changing. My advice for people who want to start a blog is just start the blog. Write your first post, make your first video, set up that Instagram account. The nice thing about starting from zero is that hardly anyone will see your first blog post, your first video, and so you have all the room you want to make mistakes and make terrible blog posts, terrible videos. That is the only way that you will be able to improve. This video is sponsored by Squarespace, and Squarespace is where I started the Bliss Bean in 2017. I didn't know anything about blogging, but it was really easy to set up my website because they have this drag and drop builder that makes it super simple to create a beautiful website. Like honestly, it is difficult to make a website that looks bad on Squarespace. As my blog has grown and evolved and I've changed the style of it, I've been able to redesign it and customize it so that it matches my brand colors and brand fonts. It has grown alongside me. I created my first product this year, and so I upgraded to a Squarespace commerce plan. The important thing is to just start and create something and establish your space on the internet. You'll learn everything else that you need to know along the way, but everyone started at square one, and you can either start at square one today or you can wait and put it off until the future. So if you want to create your own blog or a website for your business, a photography portfolio, anything like that, you can go to the link in the description and use my code TheBlissBean to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. How did I decide to name it the Bliss Bean? So initially I intended for this to be a food and wellness blog, and so bean was a food, but it was also the first 3 letters of my first name and the first letter of my last name. And then bliss was alliteration, but also I just liked the word because I wanted the Bliss Bean to be a happy and motivating place. So the Bliss Bean. Would I rename it? I definitely had a period of time when I was like, why did I name it the Bliss Bean? It's so weird. I thought about changing it to my name, but unfortunately I have a very long and difficult name. I also thought about doing just my first name, so it would be Beatrice, but then that's problematic because people think it's pronounced Beatrice. In Lithuanian it's pronounced Beatrice. Beatrice is like a hybrid version that I came up with so that it would be easier for Americans to pronounce. So I decided to just stick with it, and honestly I have grown to like the Bliss Bean more, and it's kind of nice to be able to dissociate myself from it in a way where it's not like I am the YouTube channel, I am just a person who runs the Bliss Bean. When you're just starting out from zero, it can definitely be very difficult. I would just say pick a topic that you genuinely love and put time into making videos that you're proud of. It's just a matter of patience and perseverance, and so if you're not genuinely passionate about the stuff that you are writing or making videos about, then yeah, it'll probably be really difficult to get over that hump in the beginning where no one is paying attention to what you're doing. But if you really enjoy what you're doing, then you'll be able to do it even if no one is watching you. Balancing YouTube with school and life, etc. I currently am not really balancing it with anything, so I'm in a very lucky position, but during high school that was definitely a challenge, and one thing that really helped me was setting boundaries. So during junior year I had a rule for myself where I would not do any homework Friday to Sunday, so I tried to get as much homework done at school, but then the rest of it I had to get done between Monday and Thursday evening. Friday and Sunday then were reserved for all of my extracurriculars and blogging and things like that. That helped to ensure that I was doing things efficiently and that I had time for both of these sides of my life. I think it also made school like more bearable because I had a 3-day break from it every week basically. Senior year it became less about boundaries and more about reorganizing my priorities because I'd gotten through the most academically challenging part of high school, and now I had all this extra time and energy to dedicate to blogging. Like I had all these study halls in my schedule, and so then I started to work on my blog a lot during the school day. Like my Monday newsletter, I always wrote that during my first hour study hall every Monday morning. So I guess my advice would be to set aside weekly times that you are going to dedicate to school or whatever versus times that you are going to dedicate to blogging, whether that is a certain day of the week or just like a period of time between classes on Thursday. When did I first consider myself a YouTuber? Probably this spring. If you watched my how I started my blog video, I explained how March 2020 was a very good month for the Bliss Bean. Numbers went up a lot and I started doing my first sponsorships, and because of COVID, YouTube was basically the only thing that I was focusing on, and so then I was like, yeah, I guess I'm a YouTuber. That has been an adjustment though. I was at a coffee shop one time and I was filming some B-roll with a friend, and this woman came over to us, and I'm not really sure what she was even asking. I was very confused, but she saw that I was like writing in a notebook and pretending to read a book and stuff, and so she asked if we were doing something related to education, because she said she worked in education, and I was like, no, I have like a productivity and personal development YouTube channel. And that was really like a big moment for me, because I'm not used to just like introducing myself to strangers in public and being like, yes, I run a YouTube channel, I am a YouTuber. Obviously I wouldn't just randomly say that to a stranger, but going from the point where I wasn't telling any of my friends about my YouTube channel to just telling this person I just met, that was a pretty big step for me. Most favorite would probably be building community. Least favorite, I don't really know how to put this into words, but like the identity struggle. I have some examples. So let's say I make a video and I say that I'm gonna be trying something new, like some new habit or whatever. I have a new goal. We as people are constantly changing, and I don't know about you, but I struggle to set long-term goals, because even if it's just like a 6-month goal, by the end of those 6 months, I feel like my life and how I view the world has changed so much that those goals just aren't really relevant to me anymore. And so if I share something online and then I decide that it doesn't really fit my life, then I just kind of feel bad about it. Or maybe my stance on something will change between when I film the video and when it's supposed to go live. Or sometimes the way that I post and share about things kind of accidentally makes them seem like they're a bigger part of my life than they actually are, like photography. That video did really well, but then all of a sudden I had all these emails and DMs asking me about photography questions and what I plan to do with my future photography career, and I was just like, guys, it was just like a part-time job for me. I really enjoyed it, but I don't envision myself being a photographer in the future. At this point, I've stopped doing senior portraits. The season isn't even over, but I just got really sick of it. Sometimes videos become outdated. So when I did my why I don't like bullet journaling video, a lot of people who had watched my very first video where I shared a bunch of facts about me pointed out that in that video I shared that I was more into paper planning than digital, and then lo and behold, about 2 years later, I completely flipped sides on that argument. And so overall, I guess what I'm just trying to say is that it's frustrating that my online presence will never be a really accurate depiction of who I am. Wow, I phrased that really well. What to do if you are overwhelmed by your to-do list? Well, first of all, I would just have one to-do list. I don't know if you literally meant that you have multiple to-do lists, but if you keep all of your stuff organized in one place, that definitely helps with overwhelm. In situations where I'm like coming home from a trip, or I've just kind of been out of it for a couple of weeks and I need to get back on track, then I will grab a good old-fashioned paper notebook and just sit down and write out a list of everything that I need to do, sort it into categories, assign it to different days and stuff. In those situations where I need kind of like a reset, then working with a paper and pen really helps me. Notion! So many people commented this on my digital planning video. I have tried Notion. I didn't really like it. It was just like too complicated and kind of clunky for my preferences. I'm scared that people are gonna attack me now, but basically what I do now works for me. I gave Notion a try and I don't want to invest more time into trying to make it work for me. I am trying to use it to manage my content ideas because that was getting kind of messy, but like everything else in my planning system is running smoothly, so I'm fine. I think I should make like an unpopular opinions video, and one of them is that I don't really like Notion that much. My worst decision in high school. Honestly, I thought about this for a long time and I could not think of anything. I honestly have no regrets about how I spent high school. The only thing that maybe I could say is like sometimes I would say yes to stuff that I probably shouldn't have said yes to. I don't mean like dangerous things. I mean like taking on projects that maybe I didn't really have an interest in or didn't have time for. But even those were lessons in how to say no. So no regrets. YOLO. How can you stay awake doing homework at 1 a.m.? Have a well-lit environment. Take breaks to move around. Definitely do not be lying down while you're doing your homework. I feel like I shouldn't even be giving this advice because I should be encouraging you to get a proper amount of sleep, but I understand. I was also there. One thing that I used to do sometimes was I would get an ice pack and I would just like put it on my eyes. the facial area, and that would wake me up a little bit. I got a bunch of questions about my school and college situation. I will not be going to college next year. I decided to take a second gap year. I just didn't want to go while the pandemic was going on because I feel like I'm really excited for college for the experience of it, like meeting new people and going to classes and learning things more than I am about like getting the degree. I don't really view it as a stepping stone in my career. So I'm not really in a rush to go, and I would rather wait until next year to have something that is more like the college experience that I envisioned. A lot of people ask me how I've been doing or why I didn't upload a video last week, so thank you guys for checking in with me. It feels weird to like transition into this topic because so far this video has been pretty upbeat and fun. Honestly, I've been really struggling for the past few weeks. When I did my mid-year review video and I was like going over the different categories of my life, I said that mental health for the first half of the year was going really well, and that was not a lie. Quarantine was going really well. I was handling it. I was thriving. Quarantine had nothing on me. And it was like pretty much right after that video that things started to get a little worse. At first it would be like one day out of the week that I wasn't really feeling like myself, feeling good, and then it would be the weekend, and then I had a full week straight where I just could barely do anything. And then most recently was the worst. It was like a couple of weeks in a row where I just could not get myself to do anything, and I was so sad, and I didn't understand why, because literally nothing in my life was going poorly, and so I felt kind of guilty for feeling the way that I did. But I just have to keep reminding myself that there doesn't have to be a reason for your emotions to be valid. But yeah, I just like couldn't bring myself to get anything done, and then as the stuff that I wasn't doing started piling up, then it became more difficult to get back into things. I did a video a while back on how I struggled with disordered eating in the beginning of high school, and I've been seeing some of those issues resurfacing a little bit, and it makes a lot of sense to me in a way, because in the beginning of high school I was kind of bored in a way. Like I wasn't being kept busy enough by the stuff that was going on at school. Freshman year was just pretty easy, and I'm kind of having the same thing now, where like my YouTube channel is keeping me busy, but nowhere near the level of busyness that I was used to in high school. And so it's almost like when my brain is given this free time and space to do something else, then it focuses on weight and self-image and things like that. So yeah, that is what has been going on. I definitely feel a lot better today, like just the fact that I'm able to sit down and film this video and actually be like upbeat and cheerful for it. Yesterday, I was able to get myself to pull out a notebook and like write out a plan to get back on track by the end of this week, and I've just been executing that plan today, and I'm already feeling a lot better. But I'm very hesitant to be like, yay, I'm feeling better now, because I've had this like up and down pattern for a while now, and so I'm working on figuring out how to not slip back into the down and just stay in the up. So one thing I did was yesterday I wrote an email to a therapist that I'm looking at. Looking for a therapist is something I have procrastinated for ridiculously long, considering that I have like a productivity YouTube channel and I literally made a video how to stop procrastinating. But I finally took like a baby step in that process, so hopefully it'll be good to like get some external help. One of the reasons why I'm hesitant to share about mental health is I don't want people to think that like, oh, all of these habits and routines and planning and stuff that she does really like backfired. Now she's burned out, because it's not really burnout. The habits and routines that I have, that's what keeps me well. It's when I slip up and I fall off the wagon and I stop doing all of these things that I just don't really feel like myself. And really, I feel like some of the busiest times of my life have been the happiest times, and some of the times when I've struggled the most with my mental health are when I have the most free time. So yeah, there's a lot more I have to say on this topic, a lot more that I've been thinking about recently, but this video is not solely about that, so I'm just gonna end it there. Thank you for listening, and thank you for being patient with me as I took a break from the internet for a little bit. So that's everything. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, you can check out Squarespace in the description to create your own blog, website, or portfolio. Please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next week. Bye!